Lee Harrison did not pull the trigger of the submachine gun that killed his partner of 5 years in August 2022. But the chain of events that led to the death of 28-year-old Ashley Dale in the Old Swan area of Liverpool was entirely rooted in his involvement in the drugs trade. His total refusal to cooperate after the murder earned him the contempt of Ms. Dale's family, who said his behaviour had increased their torment. Harrison, is now 27, is serving a 5-year prison sentence for selling crack and heroin across northwest England and North Wales in 2024, 2 years after Miss Dale was killed. May she rest in peace. James Allison, the senior prosecutor at the Crown Prosecution Service, Mersey Cheshire Complex Casework Unit, revealed how, after her murder, and despite having no assets in his name or money in his bank account, Harrison left the country on multiple occasions, travelling to Dubai, Thailand and Spain. But he was arrested back in Liverpool on the 25th of November last year in possession of a cheap Nokia mobile phone used to advertise the sale of Class A drugs. In his bedroom in Huyton, a kilo block of coke was found. As for Miss Dale's mother, his continued involvement in the kind of criminal activity that caused her death proved he clearly thought nothing of Ash. In the only face-to-face meetings with his girlfriend's mum after her death, Harrison kept up the same facade he had presented to police, suggesting maybe a previous tenant of the house had been the target. But during the trial of 5 men charged with Miss Dale's murder, it became clear Harrison would have been keenly aware of who may have wanted him dead. The prosecution outlined clear evidence of a highly charged feud with his former friend, a fellow drug trafficker, Niall Barry. The origin of the row turned out to be rooted in a years-old falling out over a burglary at a stash house controlled by Barry, where drugs worth about £40,000 were stolen. Harrison was associated with the gang known to police and the local community as the Hillsiders, named after the hillside area in Huyton where he had grown up, the court heard. Jurors were told that Barry had discovered the Hillsiders had stolen his drugs and was angry that Harrison refused to weigh in on his behalf. The row appeared to reignite when Barry and his associate Sean Zeiss had a row with Harrison and his friend Jordan Thompson at Glastonbury Music Festival in 2022. The court heard Mr. Thompson had punched Zeiss whilst Barry had been overheard making threats to stab up Harrison. Things escalated further when a man called Ricky Warnick took his own life later the same month. Messages between Barry and Zeiss recovered by police suggested they had come to believe that Mr. Warnick had been bullied by Mr. Thompson, a member of the Hillsiders known by a street name, Dusty. Zeiss also discovered Mr. Thompson was seeing his ex-girlfriend. It was against this backdrop of organised crime and petty personal slights that Barry and Zeiss formed a plan to harm Harrison, although the exact catalyst was unclear. Prosecutors narrated the dispute partly by playing voice notes recording of Miss Dale that she had shared with friends, outlining her mounting anxiety about the beef between the two men. In one, she described how if the two men encountered each other, one of them is going to end up in a bad way. In another, she told a friend she asked Harrison to be honest about everything so she could prepare for the worst. So I'll go through the story with regards to Ashley Dale in a moment. May she rest in peace. The court described Harrison as a foot soldier who was required to get his hands dirty. The judge told him that Harrison was making a trade out of misery. His defence counsel said Harrison was experiencing a difficult period in his life after he suffered a significant bereavement. As I stated, he got 5 years in prison.
4 men were today found guilty of the brutal murder of a council worker mercilessly chased through her home and blasted with a submachine gun due to her boyfriend's petty feud with criminal rivals. The hitman, James Witham, was 41, his driver Joseph Pears was 29, along with Niall Barry, who's 26, and Sean Zeiss, who's 28, who orchestrated the murder from a nearby flat, face life sentences for the killing of Ashley Dale, who's only 28 years old, in August last year. I just want to say rest in peace, Ashley, and my condolences go out to your family. During the 6.5-week trial at Liverpool Crown Court, jurors heard how Barry ordered the attack after a long-running spat with Miss Dale's boyfriend Lee Harrison, who was 26 years old, which was reignited at the Glastonbury Festival. Today, Ashley's mother Julie said she was more angry towards Harrison than the hitman himself, adding, without Lee Harrison, this wouldn't have happened. Despite the guilty verdicts and hefty prison sentences that are going to follow, she added, in my eyes, that there'll never be justice for me. The only justice would have been that this wouldn't have happened. The case is believed to be the first in British legal history to use the recorded testimony of the victim from beyond the grave in the form of hundreds of voice notes sent to Ashley to her friends describing the feud to secure the convictions. Barry, who jurors heard ran a County Lines drug ring, had fallen out with Harrison 3 years earlier over the alleged theft of drugs. But at the Glastonbury Festival in 2022, his close associate and fellow drug dealers, Zeiss was beaten up by a group including Harrison's friend Jordan Thompson, who the court heard was a member of the rival organised crime group, the Hillsiders. To compound Zeiss's loss of face after he wandered off, his then girlfriend, Olivia, went to stay with Ashley and Harrison at the festival before later splitting with him and developing a relationship with Thompson. The feud escalated in the weeks that followed, and a hit was planned with Harrison the intended target. There were calls of yes from Ashley Dale's family, including her mother and her partner, who shared hugs of relief in the public gallery as the guilty verdicts were returned, but Zeiss's father was shouting obscenities. The four men were also convicted of conspiracy to murder Harrison and a conspiracy to possess a prohibited weapon and ammunition with intent to endanger life. A fifth man, Ian Fitzgibbon, was cleared of the same charges, and a sixth man, Callum Radford, was also found not guilty of assisting an offender for arranging to hide the Hyundai car that was used. The trial judge, Mr. Justice Goose, who's going to be sentencing the men, adjourned the case until Wednesday for sentencing.
James has got £700 in cash on him, but that's below the threshold. Oh, hello, Mr. Niall.
Yeah, that'll do.
That'll come in. I think that was it, to be fair. Niall, time is 25:02, mate. You're going to be arrested under suspicion of possession of that, okay? Is it?
That's not my bag.
It's in your bag with your passport in it, okay?
Yeah, I've just showed that to you before. My passport was in his bag.
So you don't have to say anything that may harm in defence if you're not mentioning questions. Think you later on in the court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. All right?
That's not my bag.
It's got your passport in it.
Ask him, he grabbed all my stuff before.
Hmm?
Ask him, he grabbed all my stuff before.
Is it just one bag? No, there's two bags.
My bag's the carrier bag, the white bag. With all the clothes in.
He did say straight away that his passport's going to be in his mate's bag.
I did say that, yeah, I did say that. Ask him myself, because I did the first thing.
Right. You're under arrest for now, okay?
Till we bottom it out.
It's your bag, is it? Say again? The big blue holder. Yeah. Okay. Say again? There's ketamine in there, is there? Whereabouts is it? He's saying there's some ketamine in the bag. Right, find anything?
In his bag. The blue one.
That one? That's yours? Okay. Right, okay. So, I'm going to arrest you then, on suspicion of possession of this, okay? So you don't have to say anything but may harm your defence if you're not mentioning questions, saying that they line up for, okay? Anything you do say may be given evidence. Obviously, this is a lock knife, right? So you're under arrest for the possession of a bladed article. Where's the ketamine in here then? What? I've searched the bag and I can't find any ketamine. What was it in? It's your driving licence in your bag.
Yeah.
So it's the other guy, the chap with the baseball cap, he's considered it's his bag. And the guy whose passport it was in it is denying it's his bag, saying it's his mate's bag.
Oh well, that's on tape, so.
Yeah. To be fair, I think as soon as, to be fair to Niall, the other bloke,
Yeah.
as soon as these been stopped, he sort of said, like, my passport's in that bag, but nothing else in there is mine. And the other chap's like, yeah, that's my bag. His passport's in it, so I didn't go the one first because I thought it was his.
Yeah, well,
he's got
your passport.
yeah, he's got no, it's not mine. Yeah, the guy, yeah, no, it's my bag.
Ashley's mother today slammed Harrison's behaviour since the murder on the 21st of August last year, refusing to cooperate with police investigation into her death and leaving the country as absolutely despicable. She declared she was more angry at Harrison, a former friend of Barry, and his associate Sean Zeiss, also convicted of murder, that I am the person who's actually killed Ashley. She added, "We've had no remorse from him, we've had no support from him, we've had no admittance that it's anything to do with him. He's given us a number of reasons of what he's heard it is to do with, and none of them include him, and he still carries on, going about his life, leaving the country, going on holidays, loading it up, shall we say, like nothing's happened and nothing's changed for him, and it's absolutely disgusting, it really is." Judy, the mother, insisted her daughter was her own person and that she couldn't control who she chose to fall in love with. Her daughter knew my feelings about Lee. She said, "I knew that he didn't have a 9-to-5 job. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't know the full extent of what he was doing, but I did tell Ashley on a regular basis that I wasn't happy for her being with someone like Lee Harrison. What I mean by that is she had so many prospects and aspirations. She wanted to live a normal life, whatever that is, and he was never ever going to be able to do that. She constantly strived for him to be that person, and he was never ever going to be that." Her partner and Ashley's stepfather, Rob Jones, said he's aching to the people who've done this, in that he won't face the truth and he's living his own lies, so to speak. They're all collectively just a different world from the one we lived in, and we've had to be dragged into it now. They all lie, they all cheat, they all steal, and they know no difference. This wasn't Ashley's world. He said, "That's not our life. I've not brought Ashley up from the age of 12 into that. It's not her dad's life. It's nothing to do with us, how we lived. We're all professionally qualified people. We've all had jobs. We would all go down the other path. The problem we keep coming back to is Ashley fell in love with the wrong person. It's just shocking what's happened. By his actions, Lee quite clearly didn't love Ashley." So Ashley was gunned down with a Scorpion submachine gun at her home in Old Swan in Liverpool on August the 21st last year, which was one of 5 innocent murders last year amid escalating violence between Merseyside drugs gangs. During the trial, the prosecutor, Paul Gurney, KC, told how Ms Dale was shot in the abdomen and found dying in a rear backyard of a terrace home by a neighbour who called 999 following the attack at around midnight, which happened after she had been enjoying a quiet night in watching telly. The prosecutor said evidence from Environmental Health Officer Ms Dale's iPhone provided a clear picture of the feud between Harris and Barry, nicknamed Branch, because of his 6'7" height. In her voice notes, Ms Dale was told how she feared Branch was out for Lee and that her nerves had gone over it all. The prosecutor said the messages were the voice of Ashley describing in her own way a dispute which led to her death. Describing the escalating feud, Ms Dale said in a voice note to Miss McDowell 3 days after the festival, "I know Branch has been saying madness about Lee." She said she heard of Barry saying to Fitzgibbon, "Where's Saz? I'm going to stab him up." That's Harrison. In a text to a friend named only as Sophie, Ms Dale wrote, "Branch is out for Lee, isn't he? There's been murder, aggro again, so my nerves have gone all over it." She also said it's scary because Barry, is on pure rampage. The court heard further iPhone messages from Ms Dale on July the 31st where she spoke of heavy beef between Barry and Harrison and predicted probably one of them is going to end up in a bad way. And Ms Dale, who's also doing well at work and had been interviewed for a more senior job, told a friend she was proper stressed out, adding, "I've just had a bad feeling about everything. It's horrible. My heart's in my mouth constantly." The court heard that the weekend before the murder, an Audi used by Barry and Witham to travel to Glastonbury was exchanged for the Hyundai, the car from which the killers operated. CCTV and ANPR evidence then regularly placed the car and co-conspirators in the vicinity of a flat in Highton where a room was used to grow cannabis.